Om Sadashivasamarambham Shankaracharya-madhyamam Asmadacharya-paryantam Vande Guru-paramparam. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. ओम नमो ब्रह्मादिभ्यो ब्रह्म विद्या संप्रदाय कर्तृभ्यो वंश ऋषिभ्यो नमो गुरुभ्यः. Okay, so we were looking at the 10th Vakya in the 4th Brahmana of the first chapter. So here the discussion was about what happens after jnana takes place, because it is said that all the karma is destroyed in the wake of knowledge. So once someone gains the knowledge that Aham Brahmasmi iti, I am Brahman, I am the limitless. Once this knowledge is there, all the karma is burnt. So this burning is only a way of expression. Really, when you know that you are the limitless, you are no more the karta. You are not a karta. You are not the doer. Doer is also mithya, because the individual alone is the doer. The individual is the enjoyer. And what you understand is individuality itself comes and goes. It is not your very nature. The individuality which you think is yours, and in fact naturally you take it, you have a complete identity with a particular individuality in the waking state. But in reality what we understand is that this individuality cannot be considered as ultimately real. Why? Because what is real cannot come and go. It has to be always there in all periods of time as it is. That alone we accept as real. That which can never be negated in any period of time. That which never changes also. Once you have ascertained that it is such and such, this is its nature, that which never changes its nature alone is real. But that which comes and goes, that which keeps changing, these things are all considered as mithya. They are all only appearances. Now this individuality also comes and goes. The individuality I have in the waking is not the same in the dream world. I have some other individuality. In deep sleep it is completely resolved, but I am there. Okay, so the I, which is the basis for space-time itself. Okay, so space-time itself is there in me. I am not in space-time. Okay, as an individual you think you are in space-time, but in reality space-time is in you. That is the reality, and that limitless consciousness is you. And once you understand that you are not really a doer or an enjoyer, therefore all the karma which is associated with the doer and enjoyer are not there for you. But that doesn't mean the body which is there has to vanish or fall and die immediately, because the body is the result of the karma which has already started fructifying. So that's what Bhashyakara tried to explain here. So from the standpoint of the jnani, no karma is there anyway, because jnani doesn't look upon oneself as a karta. So for the jnani really there is no karma. But still the body which has already started fructifying, the karma which has already started fructifying results in this body. So this body continues. It need not fall, and it has to continue, otherwise there won't be any Guru Shishya Parampara. Okay, there will not be any Acharya who himself knows. If the body immediately falls after Jnanam, then I don't know what it will be. So Bhashyakara explains that clearly. So we saw, and he even quoted all the different Upanishads and Bhagavad Gita where the same thing is revealed. Now, one more point Bhashyakara takes up. Because before we saw that every individual, every human being is a rini, okay, means a debtor. We all have our debts towards the devas, the pitris, the rishis, like that. We have different debts which we have to clear. In fact, day to day, we are supposed to do daily, in fact, nitya karma towards clearing this debt. So this was discussed before, and Bhashyakara also quoted some time back. If you go, see here, Brahmacharyena rishibhyaha yajnena devebhyaha prajaya pitrubhyaha iti hi jayamanam eva rinavantam purusham darshayati shrutihi. So in Shruti itself, in Taittiriya Samhita, it is said, by studying the Veda, you repay the debt to the rishis. By doing yajna, you repay the debt to the devas. And by having children and also doing certain karma, okay, like there are, we do our ancestor worship, you can say, or whatever karma towards our ancestors every new moon day, and even during the start of the month and some other, like during eclipses and all, we do tarpana, as we call it, pitri tarpana. So like this, we fulfill our debt towards our pitris also. So this rina was talked about. Now Bhashyakara explains that also here. He says, Yattu rinaihi pratipadhyate iti. So if you say all human beings are bound by this debt, that is not there for the jnani, tanna. There is no debt for the jnani. Jnani is not even a karta bhokta. Where is the question of any debt? So all this debt and all is only applicable to an ignorant person, one who takes oneself as a karta and a bhokta, as a doer and enjoyer. So avidyavad vishayatvat, therefore he says, so it is not there for the jnani, because all this talk of debt towards whether it is the devas or the rishis or the pitra, all of that is only avidyavad vishaya. It is all only if you have avidya, if you have ignorance, not for the one who is a jnani. So he explains that further. Avidyavan hi rini. So one who is avidyavan, one who has ignorance alone, is a debtor. Tasya kartritvadi upavatte. Because he has all these notions that I am a karta, bhokta, like that. Okay, I am a limited individual. I have desires. I have to then do karma to fulfill those desires. Like this, I am a wanting person. All these things are there. Okay, ignorance and its effects. Okay, so even the idea that I am a doer and an enjoyer, these are all because of ignorance of oneself only. So this consideration of being a debtor is there only if you take yourself as a ignorant, or if you are ignorant about yourself and take yourself as a wanting individual. Okay. So that again Bhashyakara quotes here. Brihadaranyaka itself later in 4th chapter, it will say, Yatra va anyadiva syat, tatra anyaha anyat pashyet. So here the iva is very important. Anyad iva, yatra dvaitam iva, like that also it comes in another place. So where, as though another thing is there, okay, like that you see, then you see the other thing. So as though is a very important thing, this ivakara. As though there is something other than myself is there, and then I see that other thing, and then I become separate from that other thing. Obviously, once I become separate from the other thing, I am limited with reference to that. Then the whole vyavahara starts, the whole transactional world comes into the picture. So only when you see something other than yourself, and that other than yourself is iva, it is as though other than yourself, correct? It's not really there, it's only an appearance. So this appearance of the other than oneself, okay, the appearance of the other than oneself, and then seeing it as other than oneself. That is talked about in the Upanishad later. Itihi vakshyati. So the Upanishad itself is going to say that. Okay. So ananyat sadvastu atmakyam yatra avidyayam satyam anyadivasya. So actually the sadvastu, which is ekameva advitiyam, which is satyam, that is ananyat also means it is not really separate from anything, because all the things have their very existence in that sadvastu, which is the karana of all the karya. It is jagat karana. So really speaking, it alone is there, but we see many things, okay, due to ignorance. Yatra avidyayam satyam, when avidya is there, anya divasya, it is as though other than oneself or other than that sadvastu. And how did this happen? It is like seeing two moons. Dvitiya Chandravat, Timira Krita. Timira means it is some kind of defect in your eyes, okay? Or you can take cataract or something like that. So when you have that, you are seeing double vision is there. So maybe an eye doctor can tell us there are, I think, vision problems like that. Those who see double or multiple things where one should be there. So Timira Krita Dvitiya Chandravat. So where there is one, you are seeing many. So that is like this defect in the eye, due to which you are seeing more than one thing, or you have taken a lot of alcohol, let us say. Some people, once you are drunk, you see more than one, correct? Where there is one, you are seeing. That's why I think people even show, correct? Tell me how much it is and all that, to see whether some guy is drunk or not. So like that, you see more than one when there is only one thing. That is because of ignorance. Okay. So tatra avidya krita aneka karaka apeksham darshanadi karma tat kritam phalancha darshayati. So here this sentence yatra va anyadiva syat atra anyaha anyat pashyet. So you see, you being the other, you see something other than yourself. Like this darshana karma is shown by the Upanishad, or it will be shown by the Upanishad later on. So darshanadi karma tatkritam phalancha. So once you see something other than yourself, then the effect of that also is talked about by the Upanishad. Obviously the effect of that is you become a samsari, because once you see something other than yourself, you are limited by that other. And that means once you become a limited being, you are going to have problems. Okay. So that is going to be shown by the Upanishad later in the 4th chapter. And that is all avidya krita, it is all due to ignorance. And aneka karaka apeksham means it depends on many karakas, many factors of action. Because every action depends on many factors of action, including karta, karma. Karta means here doer, karma means object of action. Then karana means instruments. Like that, location is there. Adhikarana. Like this, so many things are there. Even grammatically, when we talk about it, there are different factors of action are there. Based on that, only a verb and noun, they come together to form a sentence. So here, any action depends on many different factors of action, which are all again effects of ignorance only. And this is being shown, this effect of ignorance, in terms of this action of seeing and the results of that, it will be shown by the Upanishad itself in the 4th chapter. So how is it showing? That's what it is showing as tatra anyaha anyat pashyed ityadina. So by this sentence, anyaha anyat pashyed, like this it is going to show you. Okay. So this is to show that if you see something other than yourself, then you will become a samsari, and that is the avidya and the phala. The result of ignorance is that you become limited being, and then the result of that further is that You keep doing something in the hope of becoming totally satisfied with yourself, but that is a vicious cycle. It never happens. So you are going round and round. That is what is called samsara. Samyak sarati iti samsara. You go around very well, very nicely. You are going round and round. That is called samsara. That is what is called a life of becoming. Also, you become something, thinking that you will be totally satisfied by becoming that, but then that doesn't end like that. Still, even after becoming something, you are still the same old limited person, and so you want to become something else. So that life of becoming keeps on and on. It goes on and on. That is because you see something other than yourself. As long as you are seeing something other than yourself, this will continue. That is what is shown by the Upanishad. But due to some punya karma, okay, let us say, you learn Vedanta, or you at least start questioning this never-ending pursuit of karma phala. Correct? The results of action are all finite. So you understand that your fundamental problem is to get rid of your limitations. You should be free of all limitations, because any limitation means you are not able to accept yourselves. You look at yourself and you see that you are limited in some way. That is not acceptable to myself. So my fundamental problem is one of self non-acceptance, which is born of my own self-consciousness, correct? Or self-judgment that I am a limited being. Now, how do I get rid of this? Only way is to attain limitlessness. So once you understand this fundamental problem, and the solution to that is to become limitless. But how can I become limitless? Limitless means it has to be limitless with reference to space, with reference to time, with reference to all the objects. Correct? Desha, kala, vastu, aparichinnaha, like that we say in Sanskritam. With reference to space also, limitless. With reference to time, limitless. With reference to objects also, it has to be all the objects. So with reference to space, it is limitless, means you cannot go anywhere and attain limitlessness. You cannot go to Golok Vrindavan or some heaven or even Kailasha, Vaikuntha. If it is limitless, it has to be there here. You don't have to go anywhere to attain the limitless. If you have to go to Vaikuntha and then gain something, that is not really limitless. If it is not here and it is only there in some Kailasha or Vaikuntha or Golok Vrindavan or heaven, then it is not worth it. Similarly, I cannot gain limitless after some time, correct? If it is limitless with reference to time, it is there, it was there, it will be there, or in fact, it has to be free from time itself, correct? Similarly, space also, it has to transcend space, it has to transcend time, it has to be free from space and time. That alone is really limitless. So time-wise also, if I have to gain limitless, there cannot be any real gain of limitless hereafter. That means the only solution is I am already the limitless. Okay? If I am already the limitless, then I don't even have any problem. Where is the problem then? Because my whole problem is that I am seeing myself as a limited being. But then the only solution for this seems to be that I have to already be limitless. Otherwise, there is no solution. If I am already the limitless, then the problem is one of ignorance. Understand that. Because only with ignorance, you can gain what is already gained. Or you accomplish something which is already accomplished. Accomplishing the accomplished is what we are all doing. Moksha is nothing but accomplishing the accomplished. Accomplishing the unaccomplished is all karma. Okay. Karma phala is accomplishing the unaccomplished because it is all limited. But moksha means it is always accomplishing the accomplished. You are already the limitless, but you take yourself as the limited individual. So you have to get rid of that wrong notion. Then you have to study the Shastra. Shastra is the pramana for that. So that's what we are all doing here. Okay. So due to some punya karma, you do this analysis that if I have to really get rid of my fundamental problem, I have to then analyze what am I gaining by going after all this limited, finite results of action. It is never going to satisfy me totally. If I require complete satisfaction, self-satisfaction, then my only chance or only way of doing it is what? To become limitless. But becoming limitless itself is meaningless. I have to be already the limitless. That means I have to recognize my own limitlessness. That's all. Okay. So that is the vidya. Then I have to gain knowledge here. Because if the problem is ignorance, knowledge alone is the solution. So yatra punar vidyayam satyam. So once you get into the pursuit of knowledge and you gain knowledge, so when knowledge is there, avidya krita anekatva brahma prahanam. So when knowledge, you gain this knowledge about yourselves, that I am the limitless, I am Brahman, aham brahmasmi. If this knowledge is there, then what? Avidya krita anekatva brahma prahanam. So whatever multiplicity we are seeing due to ignorance, all that is destroyed. Okay, that Brahma, that delusion, this appearance does not fool you anymore. The appearance of multiplicity does not fool you anymore. Even though multiple things appear, actually what is there is only Sadvastu alone is there. This Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma Atma. Okay, this Brahmatma, this limitless conscious being alone is there really. There is nothing else. So this multiplicity is destroyed. Then that is the same thing is said in the same Vakya. See 4.3.31 only. Upanishad says, Tat kena kam pashye. With what will this person see what again? So what are you going to see, and with what or by what? By which instrument? There is nothing to see. You are not even the seer anymore. You are the conscious being. Okay? There is nothing to see, and with what are you going to see it also? So tat kena kam pashyet iti karma asambhavam darshayati. So like this, it is showing that action itself is impossible for the jnani, because he is not a karta, he is not a bhokta, he is not a knower also. So he doesn't need to do any. I am really not the knower also. The status of being the knower also comes and goes. I am the conscious being, always invariable in every cognition. So there is no possibility of any action in me. So that is shown here by the Upanishad. Therefore what? Tasmad avidyavad vishayaha eva riditvam. So all this talk about being a debtor, all these things are all only with reference to the one who is ignorant. Karma sambhavat, because only for the ignorant action is possible. Netaratra, otherwise it is not possible, not for the jnani. So etacha uttaratra vyachikyasishyamaihi eva vakyaihi vistarena pradarshayishyamaha. So he is saying this again later on, uttaratra, whatever I am going to comment upon, okay, or whatever is not yet commented upon on that vakyas, on those sentences, I will be again showing you in detail. That means later Bhashyakara is going to comment on this 4.3.31 also, correct? So that's what he is pointing out here. This same thing I will be actually talking about in more detail later on. So when I will be commenting upon these vakyas, which I am yet to comment on, okay, although I am quoting it here. Then further what? Tad yatha iha eva tavat. So here so further, for instance, here what? Atha yaha kaschid abrahmavit. So now Bhashyakara goes to comment what is known as avidya sutram. See, The Vidya Sutram was in 147. Okay. Atma ityeva upasita, that was called Vidya Sutram. So here, this part, let me, Atha yaha anyam devatam upaste anyaha asau anyaha ahamasmiti nasa veda yatha pashurevam sa devanam. So this part, this is called Avidya Sutra. So now Avidya Sutra Bhashya only Bhashyakara is going to give. So that's what we are going to see here. So he says, Atayaha means the Yaha here is Kastid Abrahmavit, someone who is not a knower of Brahman. And what is his view? What is his world view or whatever? He is seeing Anyam Atmanaha Vetiriktam Yam Kastid Devatam Upaste. So what he sees other than himself. Okay. So separate from himself. Yam Kaschid Devata, some Devata, okay, any Devata, whether it is Indra, Mahadeva, Vishnu, whatever, Agni, so many Devatas are there. So other than myself, I am seeing some other Devata, and then what? I also do Upasana of that Devata, Upaste, I worship that Devata. How do I worship? Stuti, Namaskara, Yaga, Bali, Upahara, Pranidhana, Dhyanadina. So, doing all these things, I praise, Stuti, Namaskara, I do Namaskara, salutation, okay, Yaga. So, I do Yaga, different types of pujas or even fire rituals. Bali, sacrifice, also I do. Then Upahara, I help them or whatever, I give them presents. Then Pranidhana means again doing japa or whatever, focusing on them, or even devotion, you can say. And dhyana is even more than that. You just think about that devata continuously without, in a flow, okay, unbroken flow of thought about that devata. Through all these things, upaste means, Bhashyakara again breaks it and show. Upa aste means you approach them like a subordinate. In a that means your position is lower than the Devata's position, correct? You are praising the Devata and you are doing all these things to get something from the Devata, and Devata also gets something from you. That is the whole idea. So Upa Aste, like that he puts. That's why Upa means there is a meaning of near also, but it is also there is a meaning of that you are subordinate. Okay. So Tasyaha Guna Bhavam Upagamya Aste. So that Devata's guna and bhava, you gain their qualities and all that. You actually in the upasana, in fact, whatever you do upasana on, you gain those qualities and the same kind of bhava also, we say, correct? Bhava means here the same kind of attitude and feeling, whatever. Okay. So qualities, and like the whomever devata you are doing upasana on, you gain similar qualities, okay, and you approach them that way, upaste. And but your attitude is what? Anyaha asau. This is the Upanishad itself, it is there, correct? So this devata is separate from me. Okay, anatma, it is not myself, it is separate from myself. Anyaha asau. Mattaha prithake, so separate from me. And anyaha aham, I am also different from that devata. Okay, anyaha amasmi adhikritaha, and I am qualified to do this karma, whatever karma I am doing to propitiate the devata. I am qualified for that, or I am qualified for that only. Okay. So, and also what is the attitude further? Maya asmai rinivat pratikartavyam. So, like even a debtor, I have to repay them back. Okay. So it has to be paid back by me, Maya. So these devatas have to be repaid by me, like even a debtor. That is the attitude. Ityevam pratyayaha san upaste. So having such a cognition or such an attitude or idea, one does upasana of these devatas. And when one is doing like this, correct? Nasa ittam pratyayaha veda. So those who have such a idea, okay, or such a attitude, and then do all this upasana, they do not know the truth, in fact. Okay, na veda vijanati tattvam. So they do not know the reality. The reality is that devatas are not separate from yourself. In fact, if you see Ishvara separate from yourself, not only you become limited, in the process you are making Ishvara also limited, correct? That is even worse. If you say Ishvara is separate from me, what is the implication of that? At the same time, you say, some theologies say that Ishvara is Sarvavyapi, Sarvajnaha, Sarvashaktiman and all that. So if Ishvara is Sarvavyapi, all pervading, then how can Ishvara be separate from you? But they do say that. I don't know how they reconcile it. So when you say Ishvara is separate from me, not me and all that, you are making Ishvara into actually Anatma. And Anatma is Jada, in fact. Okay. Anatma is Jada. It's not even Chaitanya. So you are reducing Ishvara to some limited, insentient thing. That is the status. That's how bad it is if I look at it that way. Okay. So anyway, so that's, if you do like that, you do not know the reality. Upanishad, see how beautifully it is bringing this out. This is the Avidya Sutra. That's what these people who are ignorant, or most of the people are like this only, correct? 99% of the people think that God in heaven created this world. Now I have to do something to please this God, so that God will take me back to heaven, whatever that heaven is. Whether when you go to that heaven you like it or not is some other issue, correct? So anyway, so now Bhashyakara further, not only Bhashyakara, he is commenting on the original only. So in the original what it says, see, nasa kevalam evam bhutaha avidvan avidya doshavaneva. See, whoever is doing worship like this, in this manner, okay, not only he is an ignorant person, that he does, not only that he has ignorance as a defect, okay, but further what? Kim tarhi, further, yatha pashuhu gavadihi vahana dohanadi upakaraihi upabhujyate, evam saha idyadi aneka upakaraihi upabhoktavyatvat ekaikena devadinam. So what he is saying now, this person who is ignorant and who is worshipping the devas as though they are separate from oneself, not only he has the defect of avidya or ignorance, further he is like an animal for these devas. Why? Because these animals, for human beings we use animals, pashu, gavadihi. So all these cows and bullocks and all that, or even horses, we use them for vahana, means we use them for pulling our vehicles. Okay. And then dohanadi, we also milk them. So like this we are using all these animals for our purpose. So upakaraihi upabhujyate. So we enjoy the labor of these animals. They are all beasts of burden. They carry our burden. They give us whatever which we enjoy from them. Similarly, what? Evam, in this manner, even the one who is ignorant and who is doing all this devata upasana, one who is worshipping all these devatas, through what? Ijyadi aneka upakarehi. So you do lot of all these rituals, you do all this sacrifice, all these things you are doing, correct? You give them their havir bhava. In the sacrifice, you give them some havis and all that, offerings. So all those things they are enjoying, these devatas, all these different things, aneka upakarehi upabhoktavyatva, they are all enjoying these different things which you are offering to the devatas. Okay, so each ekaikena means each one of these people who are doing like this, they are all like animals to these devas, like how animals are for human beings. These human beings are similarly to the devas. That's what finally he says. Ataha, therefore, pashuhi iva sarvarteshu karmasu adhikritaha ityarthaha. So, like even animals are doing all sorts of work for you. You do all sorts of work for these devatas. You become qualified only for that. Adhikritaha karmasu. By doing all this karma, you are like all these animals for these devatas. Okay. Further what? Etasya hi avidushaha varnashramaadi pravibhagavataha adhikritasya karmanaha vidyasahitasya kevalasya cha शास्त्रोक्तस्य कार्यम मनुष्यत्वादिकः ब्रह्मान्तः उत्कर्षः. So now Bhashyakara is showing what can happen within this samsara. Okay, within this samsara, when you are doing all this upasana, thinking that the devatas are separate from you, what can happen? Okay, in one way, what can happen? So you are avidushaha, you are not a vidwan, you are not a knowledgeable person, you have avidya with reference to yourself. Therefore what? But you take yourself as a human being, individual. That means you are subjected to varna and ashrama dharma. So you think that you have such and such varna, I belong to such and such ashrama. That means I am a householder, or I am a brahmachari, or I am a vani, whatever. So I am in this ashrama and I have this varna. So I am now, this is my duty. I have to do these things. Like this, pravibhagavataha, like this, different duties are there for you. You divide, you see all these divisions in terms of varna and ashrama. And you adhikritasya karmanaha. So based on that, I am now qualified to do all this karma. And not only just karma, vidya sahitasya means upasana also. So you can do only karma, or you can do karma along with upasana. Then the phala, the result is supposed to be higher. So vidya sahitasya kevalasya karma or vidya sahitasya. So only these ritualistic activities you can do, or you can do both these rituals and along with that upasana. And all these things are what? Shastroktasya. So you are doing whatever is said in the Veda. You are a dharmika. Okay. You are a good person. You are a religious person. You are a dharmika. You are following the Veda. Whatever is said in the Veda, in the Purva Bhaga of the Veda, you are doing everything. There are 40 samskaras are talked about, correct? In that so many karma is there. Paka yajna and all that. So all those things you are doing, whatever is said by the Shastra, then what will be the result for you? So what is the karya? What is the effect of that is Manushyatwadikaha, Brahmantaha, Utkarshaha. So from Manushya onwards up to Brahma or the Hiranyagarbha, you will get all Utkarsha Pala, means all higher results you get. Okay. Within the samsara, you can become Hiranyagarbha, that we saw in the first 3 chapters. All upasanas were talking about that only. So you become Brahmaji. Up to that you can become from Manushya to Brahma. Okay. What if you don't do whatever is said in the Shastra? That also is showing you. What? Shastrokta viparitasya cha. Okay. So if you do something other than what is said in the Shastra, going along with your natural tendency, swabhavikasya karyam. So you go along with your natural tendencies, your likes and dislikes. Because doing what is said in the Shastra is always boring, or it is difficult, it is all too much effort. I don't want to do any of those things. I will live as I wish. I'll go along with my likes and dislikes, even if it is troubling somebody else also, I don't care. Okay. Only my likes and dislikes are important. I don't care about others also. People are there like that. So they go along with their natural tendencies. And then what? What is the karyam? What is the effect of this? Manushyatwadikaha eva sthavarantaha apakarshaha. So this is Utkarshaha, this is Apakarshaha. So from human being onwards, you then go down. You have rebirth as plants, insects and all that. Okay. Up to amoeba, we have to say, correct? Up to a single celled organism, or you even go to some Naraka and all that. That Bhashyakara didn't say that, he is only saying Stavarantaha, up to becoming plants. Means the plants have only very limited subtle body, correct? They don't have an evolved nervous system or anything. So they are there, whatever they are doing. In fact, they do a lot of good. But anyway, so the idea is that being a plant, you cannot have moksha and all that. So this human birth is to be utilized always, okay? Because we always look upon the human birth as something very important. So durlabham also. It is not very easy to get. Once you have this chance, you have to utilize it. So durlabham trayametad, like that. Even in, I think, Viveka Chudamani, Bhashyakara says. So these three things are very difficult to get. What is that? Manushyatvam is one. Manushyatvam means being a human being. Then mumukshutvam. Then the desire for freedom, the understanding of one's own fundamental problem, and the desire to be free from all limitations itself is a great blessing. This is a great blessing. Otherwise, you will always be in the same rut. Okay. So that mumukshutvam, manushyatvam, mumukshutvam. Okay, you got the desire to become free, but you didn't get a proper guru. You are sitting in meditation for 30 years, telling some whatever bija mantra. Somebody gave you a bija. They took $100 from you also for that. Okay, they just give the bija, Om, Aim, something like that, and you keep chanting that. It's good in one way. It makes your mind calm, focused and all that. But beyond that, nothing is happening. Okay? That means you have to get a proper guru. Mahapurusha Samshrayatvam, like that, Bhashyakara, three things he says: Manushyatvam, Mukshutvam, Mahapurusha Samshrayatvam. These are durlabham, not easy. Some due to some punya only we get all these things we have to take. So we should not, this human birth should not be wasted. Otherwise, what? The loss is infinite, in fact. Iha chet avedit atha satyamasti, nachet iha vedin mahati vinashtihi. Like this Upanishad says. Nachet iha vedin. If you do not know yourself in this birth, then what is the loss? Means mahati. It is limitless loss, in fact. If you know means then satyam. Satyam means again anantam. It is, you have gained the limitless, the reality. Otherwise, the loss is also limitless. So anyway, so yatacha etat tatha atatrayo vava lokaha. So in the same chapter now, okay, first chapter 1.5.16 onwards, the same thing is being discussed later on. That also Bhashyakara is pointing out. That is the difference between the samsari or avidyavan and the vidyavan, the one who is a jnani. So ityadina vakshyamaha. So we'll be talking about this, he says. From this 1.5.16 onwards, Trayo Vava Lokaha, there are three lokas like this. Upanishad itself is going to talk about this. And up to the end of the Adhyaya, first Adhyaya, Krishne Naiva Adhyaya Sheshena. So from 1.5.16 onwards to the end of this first chapter, the same thing we'll be discussing, he is saying. So about Avidya Visa. So Avidya, to either you can go up to Brahma, or you can go down up to plants. Okay, but what about the one who is jnani? Vidya yascha karyam. So the result of vidya or knowledge is what? Sarvatma bhava pattihi. That is, you become the atma of everyone. You become the limitless. That was what was said here also, correct? Ityetad sankhepataha darshitam. He says, I have shown this in a very summarized manner. But we had such a big discussion, correct? I think last 13-14 classes we are going on this only. But Bhashyakara here coolly says, this I have shown you briefly in a summarized manner. Sankhepataha darshitam. Okay, or concisely I have shown you. That's what he is saying actually. So anyway, so Sarvahi Iyam Upanishad Vidya Vidya Vibhaga Pradarshane Naiva Upakshina. So all this entire Upanishad, correct? Whatever this Brihadaranyaka Upanishad itself is, what is its main topic? Means it is showing you the difference between Vidya and Avidya. How Vidya is the one which you should go for. Okay, even though there may be great pursuits within the samsara, they are all still in the realm of only ignorance. Even becoming Brahma is same. Okay, so this vibhaga, this difference between vidya and avidya, ignorance and knowledge, showing this only is the main intention of this Upanishad. In fact, all Upanishads. And not only all Upanishads, he says, Yatacha Yesha Artaha Krishnasya Shastrasya. So similarly, what he says, the same meaning is there for the entire Shastra, entire Veda. If you take the Tatparya of the entire Veda is only to show the difference between Vidya and Avidya. But Veda goes along with the Avidya and then prescribes so many things. But once you question that pursuit and then go for moksha, the same Veda is again teaching you who you are, your reality. So the difference between Avidya and Vidya is the main topic for the entire Shastra. Tatha Pradarshayishyamah. This I will show, he says. Later on also, Bhashyakara will discuss this topic. I will be showing this like that, he is saying. So, this also Bhashyakara will be showing. Okay, further what? Yasmad evam tasmad avidyavantam purusham prati deva ishate iti vignam kartum anugraham cha ityetat darshayati. Okay, so this being so, therefore what? The one who is ignorant, that person, towards him the devas are lauding, correct? They are the overlords. They are lauding those who are ignorant. Therefore what? They are capable of doing whatever vigna, they are capable of obstructing them or giving them blessings also. Anugraham cha kartum. So they can give blessings or they can even obstruct this ignorant person, and that is being shown now. How Upanishad itself shows, Yata havai loke bahavaha gavaha gaha bahavaha go ashwadayaha pashavaha manushyam swaminam atmanaha adhishtataram bhujyuhu palayeyuhu evam bahu pashusthaniyaha ekaikaha vidvan purushaha devaniti pitradi upalakshanartham bhunakti palayati iti. So here what the Upanishad is saying, these even in the loka, in our worldly life, there are many animals are there, correct? The cows and the horses, etc. Go ashwadayaha, pashavaha, animals, and manushyam swaminam, and the human beings are their owners, and also what? Atmanaha adhishtataram, and they are the ones who are supporting them also, these animals, and they actually work for them, and they are for the enjoyment of that human being, correct? Bhunjuhu palayeyuhu. Similarly, evam bahu pashusthaniyaha, equivalent to many animals, it seems. Each human being is equivalent to many animals for the devas. Like how animals are for human beings, similarly each human being is like many animals for these devas. Ekaikaha avidyan purushaha devan. So for the devas, each and every ignorant person is like many animals which are working for this human being. And here Bhashyakara says devan, plural is there. Devan means here we also have to take pitradi upalakshanartham, pitris also, not only devas, even pitris we have to take. Upalakshanartham. It is only upalakshana means it indicates also pitras, etc. When we say deva, not only deva, it is an indicatory word. It also indicates pitras and other whatever other type of beings. bhunakti, palayati. So these human beings, they are for the enjoyment, or they are actually working for these devas and pitris, etc. And who are they? Ime indradayaha. And how do these people actually work for them, thinking that these people who are Indra, etc., all these devatas, Indra, Agni, etc., Anye Mattaha, and they are all separate from me. Mama Ishitaraha, they are all my overlords. Okay, they are lording over me. Bhrityaha, Iva Aham Yesham, Stuti Namaskara Idyadina, Aradhanam Kritva. So they are the ones who are supporting me, and I will be now doing Aradhana. I will be doing all this, whatever worship to them, by doing praising, salutations, and all sorts of puja and all these things, correct? Ijyadi, yajanam means worship, again prayer, different types of prayers, salutations, praising, all this I do. And like that I worship them. And because of that, what? Abhyudaya, Ishreyasam cha, tat prattam. So they will give me now prosperity. Abhyudaya is prosperity in this world. Nishreyas means again moksha. So moksha also Bhashyakara includes here. He will talk about this later also. We will see. So they will give me here prosperity here, and hereafter also they will give me freedom. They will be giving tat prattam phalam prapsyami. So I will be gaining these results which they will give. Ityevam abhisandhihi. So like this it is there. Okay, in this manner the connection we have to make. All this avidwan purushaha, they are all like pashus for these devas. Okay. Tatra loke bahu pashumataha yatha ekasminneva pashau adiyamane vyagradina apahriyamane mahad apriyam bhavati tata bahu pashustaniyaha ekasmin purushe pashubhavat yutisthati apriyam bhavati iti. Okay, so now the Upanishad itself talks about this here. See, if you go up, so bunjye bunjuhu evam ekaikaha purushaha devan, up to this we have seen. Now devan bhunakti, and ekasminneva pashau adiyamane apriyam bhavati. This is what Bhashyakara is now giving commentary on. And then kimu bahushu tasmad esham tanna priyam yedetan manushya vidyuhu. So this part is giving actually, this entire part. Okay, up to this vidyuhu. So that's what we are going to see here. So in this, what is Bhashyakara saying? He says, so here, so in the world, the one who has many animals, okay, and how he does not like if one of his animals is taken away by, let us say, a tiger. He feels very displeased, correct? Or at least minimum displeased we have to say, or he is afflicted by that. He doesn't like it. If one of his animals which is really serving him is taken away by a tiger, vyagradina apahriyamanaha mahad apriyam bhavati. So great displeasure is there. Similarly, bahu pashustaniyaha, the human being who is like many animals to the devas, ekasmin purushe pashubhavat vyutishtati, if that person becomes free, correct, or tries to know Brahman, means he is no more like an animal to them. Okay, pashubhavat vyutishtati, so he comes out of this pashubhava. Then what? They also do not like this, the devas, apriyam bhavati iti. So they do not like somebody becoming a jnani, because then once this person becomes a jnani, he is no more like an animal to them. Okay, they cannot enjoy whatever he is doing, or he is not going to do anything for their enjoyment. That is the problem. So they do not like that. And there is nothing weird about this. Kim chitram? Chitram here means vichitram. There is no, it is not something surprising or weird or anything. It is expected. The Devas will think like that only. So that is something to be expected of the Deva. So apriyam bhavati iti devana. So bahu pashu apaharana iva kutumbina. So even for a normal family man who is owning many cows, if they will not be pleased. Similarly, the Devas are also not pleased if one of this person who is a karmata, who is doing all this karma for the Devatas, if he becomes a jnani and doesn't do any more karma, okay, they are not very pleased about that. So tasmad eshan tanna priyam. So therefore, what for these people, that person who is a jnani is not, they are not pleased by that person. Okay, na priyam, not pleasing for them. Kim tate, who is that? Yad etat brahmatma tattvam katanchana manushya vidyuhu vijaniyuhu. So the one who knows this brahmatma tattvam, that person, somehow he knows that. Means that person, that manushya, that human being, the one who knows this brahmatma tattvam, that person is not pleasing to these devatas because he is no more going to be doing anything for their enjoyment. Tatacha smaranam anugitasu. Now here Bhashyakara is quoting Anugita. See, Anugita is an interesting book because Bhagavad Gita is the more famous counterpart. But in the Ashwamedha Parvan of Mahabharata, Anugita also is there. In fact, it's also a big text, like 36 chapters are there. And here again, different stories and all that comes. In fact, Arjuna says that I have now I have forgotten all Bhagavad Gita and all that. So he again asks Krishna, can you teach me? Then Krishna doesn't teach. He then sends him to some other rishi and all that, and then they have different conversations and all are there in Anugita. It's an interesting text. But Bhashyakara is quoting that. So in that it says, Kriyavat bihi hi Kaunteya Devalokaha Samavritaha. So this Devaloka is filled. Okay. And what? And also they are all they have all done a lot of karma to please these devas, correct? And then also they also reach this Devaloka because of the karma phala. But what nacha etad ishtam devanam martyaihi uparivartanam. But all these devas do not like all these mortals becoming immortals, okay, or going above them. With jnana, you become immortal. So they do not like that. Okay. So like this, even in the Anugita, it is said, Bhashyakara is quoting, it is there, Ashwamedha Parvan, 1961 verse iti. So ataha devaha pasuniva vyagradibhyaha brahma vijnanat vignam achikirsanti asmad upabhogyatvat ma vyutushteyuhu iti. So therefore what? These devas, like even these animals are taken away by this tiger, like this Brahma Jnana is taking away all these people from the devas, it seems. And therefore they want to give obstruction to these people from gaining this knowledge, because otherwise what? They will not be available for our upabhoga, for our enjoyment. Asmat upabhogyatvat ma vyutushtayu. I don't want them to go away from us and not giving us whatever they are giving us for our enjoyment. So like this, devas will think. So we'll stop here. We are now finished 1-4-10. Then we'll continue next week. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.